Hey, good morning, everybody, man. It was so great seeing everyone this past week at our family information, and I'm excited for this new program. I think it's going to be great. So each week, I'm going to try to send you a real short video, just kind of talking about the lesson that's coming up. That way, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us, let us know, but this will hopefully give you a little feedback on how the lessons are supposed to go. So this upcoming week, we're going to be doing the liturgical seasons lesson. And this part right here is basically the background information. So please read through this before you do the lesson, along with that Catholic U paper that I passed out. This should be in the back of your packet. Once you read through that, I would again make sure you read the entire lesson before you try to do it with your children. That way you're familiar with it. But this lesson is pretty straightforward and easy, and I think you and your children will have a great time doing it together. So it'll begin down here. So you will read this with your children, and you can obviously add on as you see fit. And then once you open up, the lesson will continue right here with these 2 pages. And this is basically the meat of the lesson right here, where it talks about all the different liturgical seasons that we have and the colors that go along with them. So you can read this with your children and just talk about each season as you go through it with the material that's provided. It continues on to the next page here. So this is where the lesson kind of ends above the dots. And at this point, you can transition to your younger saints if you'd like. But I did provide one for everyone to do a little coloring book. And that would be this guy right here. So you can decorate it as much as you want. Just the main thing is you can talk about the different seasons, and they can color the vestments correctly and what happens in the church. Over here, if you'll notice at the top, it says this is for older saints. So we're going to use this for our 3rd and 4th graders. You obviously can add it to your younger kids if you think they are be interested in learning more about it. But it talks about the fact that we do wear robes on a few days throughout the liturgical season, as well as the various levels of feasts that the church celebrates, solemnities, feast days, and then memorials, which are often just for saints. But it's great information for the kids to learn as you experience the liturgical calendar. Now, once you complete that, you've pretty much done the meat of the lesson. So that's the information part. The remaining things that you're going to do is going to be activities. So this page here is it's called liturgical pursuit game. So what you're basically going to do is you're going to take some of that colored paper that's provided for you, and you're just going to cut little strips, little squares, or whatever you want to do for your family, depending on how many kids you have. And you're going to read these questions to them, and then they're going to see if they can match it up with the right liturgical color that matches with that day. The cards provided are mainly going to be used on the next activity, which I'll talk about in a second, but you could cut these up and just say, as you read question 1, for example, it says, this color is one of the feast days of martyrs of the church, symbolizing the blood they shed to promote our faith. You could, obviously that'll be red, and the answers are provided there, but as you read through ones, you could actually show that the feast with a card with the one you're talking about, but that's not mandatory. So these are all given here, the different questions you ask, and the answer is in the back, so to make sure that you know what you're finishing up. And then when you turn the page to the back, this will be the conclusion of the lesson. So right here, you'll do a church year flashcard game. And that's where you will actually use these guys. So cut these guys out and utilize them. And it gives you really clear instructions on what you want to do. So you can go as far as you want. There's 3 different levels: beginner, intermediate, or an expert. And depending on the age of your children, you can go as all the way to expert, which would be awesome. But basically, you're going to mix these all up, and then you're going to try to put them in order from the beginning into the end of the liturgical season. So the season starts with Advent and goes all the way to Christ the King. And along with match of the correct color the church would wear on that feast day. The stars on here, if you'll notice, if when you read it, it'll tell you this is kind of for the beginner level. So these are like the major principal feasts, whereas you can add in all the other ones throughout the year. But like, for example, your kindergartners, you maybe just want to start with the star ones, but I do think they could handle more, so I encourage you to go further. So as you talk about your kids, hopefully they can learn about the different feasts of the church, the liturgical seasons, why we celebrate them. And a simple thing to remember is the church follows kind of this concept of purple before the principal feast, white is for the feast, and then green is afterwards. So think Advent purple, Christmas white, and a little bit of ordinary time. Lent purple, Easter is white, and ordinary time follows, with some red sprinkled in for Pentecost, a couple of the days throughout the year. So hopefully this will be a little helpful for you. If you have any questions at all, let me know. And I'm so excited to journey with you and your family, and I think it's going to be great. Have a great lesson, guys. God bless.